So, your hobo ass wants to become a vlogger. I hear you. Your main goal in life is to reach 900 subs so you can afford a stroller for your cat. Trust me, I'm with you on those goals, but it takes time and effort, and you're gonna need a camera and a lens. So let's talk about what your best options are for the cat stroller.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
Okay, I don't mean to alarm you, but we have a purchase that we're not on it yet. You don't deserve it yet. We have to work up to it. So right now we're on the worst possible thing ever, and then we switch to something else, and then you get to witness the beauty. I made a list. I was just on B&H this morning looking through all the wide angle options for Sony E-mount. I was blown away, sickened by how many options there are. I guess we're pleasured by that. It's dark. Sony doesn't care. Well, look at you. You're growing tomatoes. Oh, good for you. Good, focus on it, you piece of Viltrox shit. Okay, we're on the Sony A7S III with the Viltrox 16mm 1.8. It's heavy. We got a Freewell 6 to 9 stop magnetic frickin' mist filter on there. Proper shutter. Yeah, it's happening. And then we're gonna switch. So this list is not in any particular order. I'm just gonna talk about this lens first because it's heavy as hell and I wanna put it away. It's heavy. That's the problem. A lot of this list, you're gonna see some things are like not worth the compromise of the weight. Like this lens probably. But like there's some Zeiss lenses that are kind of heavy, but it's worth the satisfaction. So it's like, okay, like you don't go hefty for a Samyang. Get real with your life. Oh my God, that guy's gonna kill everybody in his path. Wow. I was filming him discreetly before. It looked so cool. It's like designed to hold as much as you can and kill whoever's riding it or in the way. So let's talk about the best wide-angle lenses, primes, and zooms for Sony full frame. And yes, I'm aware that you can have a gimmick of a Sony ZV-E1 with the 11mm APS-C lens and do your super stay with your dynamic levels. And it would work for that one use case, but then if you want to get some B-roll in slow motion, all of a sudden you can't use that crop and your lens is useless. So first on the list is the Viltrox 60mm 1.8. It's a hefty girl. She's 586 grams. Wow. It's so heavy and so stupid. Do you need 1.8 to vlog? Please stop doing it, you bunch of pricks. Just stop it down, you dicks. This should be Tony 15. You should be GoPro full framing your way through life. Imagine that. Tony 5.6. This is the stuff. The ND's 3200. Oh wow, I did not compensate. Let's just rip it off. Rip it off at the foot. Compensate. I can't do that. Okay, Tony 4. There's a compromise. So like, I used to think you wanted, oh, if I could only carry a 1.4 full frame, best vlogging ever. Nah, man, it's not. Like Tony 8 would be fine. It really would. Okay, let's switch over to what was the best vlogging lens ever made for Sony, but I think it's been surpassed by a couple people. Let us use her now. Oh, sweet heavens relief. Oh, we're back on the Sony 20mm 1.8. So this is the lens I've been saying for years is the best compromise. It's the best all-around lens for vlogging, and even in the studio you could get away with it. It's wide, it's light, it's only 390 grams with the lens hood. You can't just go to B&H and say, oh, it's 373 grams. Why didn't you weigh the lens hood? Should I not use it? What if it falls flat on the earth? The lens hood will protect. Although, I'm using a filter, so I take the hood off. I don't know, man. Fuck you. So as you may have noticed, the Stabe is probably much better now than the Viltrox because for some reason, Sony Active Stabe does not let third-party lenses talk right. Something happens, and most third-party lenses are more shaky than a Sony lens. They've counteracted the industry with evil. So you have to know that when you're buying a third-party lens, it's not going to be as stable, and Sony is not stable anyways, so you need all the help you can get. So you probably should go with a Sony branded lens. Not that many of those made my list, I'll tell you that much. The hell kind of farting saw? Okay, let's be real. The only reason I'm making this video is to use my new lens instead of this bullshit lens. And if I love it, I'm selling this and the Viltrox and making my money back hard. Let's switch. I've been waiting for at least 6 minutes for these sirens to... Oh boy, I could not wait any longer. We finally have it. Zeiss Batis 18mm 2.8. I found the deal of the century. This is usually like a $2,000 Canadian lens. Found it for $700. Ouch. Oh, the 3D pop. Yeah. No? Oh, I have been waiting for like 90 years to test this lens. It was the first lens that got me thinking that would be your lens for vlogging, but I just never got it because it was so pricey. I didn't realize that we're getting free cans of pineapple. Oh, it's paint. Oh, man. That's bullshit. The biggest question we face with this lens is, does Sony also exclude Zeiss from the active stable party? Is it stable enough? Because if it is, you're replacing everything I own, basically, on the wide end. How could, like, if you don't have Zeiss in your life, you don't have a lens. It's just glass in a frickin' plastic shell. Louder than it needed to be. Should have went with the Chevy. I tell you though, there's nothing like the Zeiss pop and the Zeiss beauty, the color science. Nothing can be tampered with. Minimal focus distance, maybe not so much, but we reached it. It's a B. Wow. Hey, you focused on that. It's eye tracking that flower. No. So for the rest of the video, we're on Zeiss Glory Hood, and then we talk about the others that are much below this one, of course. So you might be thinking the new 16-35 G Master, it is fairly light. It's lighter than that Viltrox. That's insane. 547 grams. This lens is lighter than the Sony 20mm. It's only 352 dingers. When it comes to prime versus zoom, there is no correct answer. It's just like what you feel like that day. Usually, like, primes are sharper, they're usually faster, more like 3D pop, better quality, lighter. But then you have a zoom and you have all this range all of a sudden. And it's like, wow, like you can do the wide angle, and then when you're doing B-roll, to be able to zoom into 35, get some compression, like it's a much more magical look. It's just usually quite heavier and almost zero pop unless one of these zoom lenses has some pop. We'll get to you. But zoom versus prime, it's up to you, man. I'm a prime guy myself, but sometimes I try a zoom and I'm like, wow, that's so much fun. I'm gonna stop down to 24 for the rest. I want like a Zeiss GoPro. That's what the Sony X3000 was, by the way, Zeiss lens. That's why it was so special. The best zoom, in my opinion, is still that Zeiss 16-35 24. It has optical stabe and Zeiss Magic. It has the T-star coatings. That could mean 3D pop in your life. It's a zoom, you got some range. It's 24, which is this. You're not getting much separation, but it's decent. It's just if you're a night vlogger, I don't know, man, like a hooker's gonna steal your camera anyway. So like, why do you spend money? But that Zeiss zoom is only 518 grams. I say only, that's really heavy still. But like for a zoom, I think you go with that over the Sony 16-35 24 that replaces it. It is lighter. I wrote it down, it's down there. 353 grams. That's 1 gram heavier than this lens. And you get a 16-35. I just get a 2.8. That's my only advantage, but really for vlogging, it's not an advantage. It's an annoyance to your audience. You think you look special, you don't. You look dumb. Just to prove a point, in my opinion, I think the lens quality matters more than how much you can blur your background. We're at 5.6 now, but you have Zeiss pop, so you're still gonna feel special when you look at your footage. It's like, oh wow, I am the star of my own show. That is nice. It's one-way street. Why did I look that way? That wouldn't have protected me. See, like this situation, there's a bunch of yoga people in a park and I can't film them. They're so far away on this wide-angle lens. So there's the active yoga people, and there's the ones that died after following their advice. And he's running to call help. See, like 35, you might get a little closer. Dead people, the ones who are alive.
When I look her in the eyes, I wonder if she's surprised or knows that I wanna hide. I like hiding. I have to panhandle with candles in my hands. Why do people look at me like I'm a mammal? I'm not an animal, I'm wearing sandals. Damn boy, you rest in peace, I'm out of ammo. Sorry boy, you eat too much corn. While you watch porn, you're ordinary, like normal people. You're a trend-hopping sheep, but the sheep go sleepless. The meek, meatless. Your minimalistic approach to sinister thoughts are criminal, but your technique is limited.
It reminds me of that review I did on the Fuji X-H2S with the Zeiss to it 12mm 2.8 versus the new Viltrox 13mm 1.4. The Zeiss had this special look. Most people won't even see it, but like, it's much better. Lighter, less Tonys, but Zeiss magic pop. So like, think of that when you're buying a lens, you see a Samyang on sale, you're like, oh, that's so cheap, full frame, yeah. And it's like 2.8, okay. But it's not the same. You're not working with the same technology here. It's people who care versus people who like picked up glass out of a sewer and then like melted it. And that's a Samyang, that's what they do. So 5.6 is pretty pleasing, isn't it? You get to see stuff back there. It's fun. It's more fun for you to see what's back there, not here. And then, oh, 2.8, I'll hide it. Oh, I'm the star. Oh no, it's too not dark enough. Oh. Okay, so that Sony Zoom F4, it is lighter. It's probably sharper than the Zeiss, but the Zeiss will have a more magical look. So be real with yourself when you're choosing that lens. It's more expensive too, the Sony. I don't like those odds. Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on to some Samyang bullshit. Samyang 18mm 2.8. It's so light, 145 grams. It's cute and fun, but you're getting a Samyang look. Don't forget that. It's cheap, cute, and fun, but Samyang-like. That's unfortunate. Darkness surrounds me. Fall colors exist, by the way. If I've left out a lens, it was on purpose. Something on this list is either lighter or cheaper or better. I mentioned some of these that I would never even think of. The Tamron 20mm 2.8. It's a Tamron. It disgusts me to even think of it. Viltrox is also trying to copy that lens. They're coming out. Didn't they get the memo of when Tamron released it and nobody bought it? Why are you copying that lens? It's the dumbest idea. When the Sony 20mm 1.8 exists, you're gonna go for a 2.8 and a third party? Like, get real, man. But those are light, 221 grams. I don't know what the Viltrox is, it's not announced yet. Sony 24mm 2.8 is only 162 grams. But you would have to extend. You'd be doing this, and that ends up getting kind of shaky. It's fun, but I kind of like an ultra wide that I can hold just the camera and then attach it to this clip. I don't need a tripod. That's kind of fun. You can do that with an 18mm. You have long arms in the shot, and it's stupid. But I don't know. Don't bend it. No, you stretch it out. Get some reach. All right, let's walk through this little dungeon here. Sigma 17mm Tony 4, 220 grams, pretty light. Sigma is going to give you sharpness, but not popping factor. I just noticed my lav mic was like down here at the bottom of that thing. It slid. Oh my god, sorry if the audio has sucked. So that lens would be light, but the Samyang would be lighter and more fun. It's just Sigma versus Samyang. Oh god. I think I would rather have Sigma. They have more integrity. Samyang. One you might consider, even though I'm not a huge fan of Tamron, a lot of you are, so I'm mentioning them for you. The 20-40 2.8 is only 365 grams. That's kind of insane. 20 is going to be wide enough, and then having a 40 2.8 for slow motion street videography, you might have some stuff. I think that new lens debunks their 17 to 28 2.8. That thing's 420 grams, so it's heavier. I do believe that 40 would be more magical than a 28, and 17 not much better than a 20, so that's a dumb lens. So get the 20 to 40. Dare you dream it. Sigma has a 16 to 28 2.8, but it's even heavier than the Tamron was, 450 grams. I don't think that's an option, but you might prefer Sigma over Tamron. They're both like the same sewer-dwelling cave people. By the way, this is what Sony stabilization looks like without active stab on. It's criminal behavior. I'm trying. I'm really trying. I feel like I did well on that little hill. And then you turn on active stab, ba-boom. It just smooths out the kinks. Kinks are bad. Even snakes know that. So what's the best lens of everything we've talked about today? I do have recency bias. I do imagine that this is the best option, although I have a feeling the 20mm will be more stable with the active stab, and that will suck if it's true. But like, this is plenty versatile. If I didn't have this, I think I would go for the 16 to 35 Zeiss 24 and just be pretty happy. Octopus stab, I said that weird. I think it syncs somewhat with Sony IBIS. It does appear to be better than not having it. Anything else? I'm curious about the Sony 16 to 35 24 just for being so light and having the... Why? I was wondering if I was gonna miss that delivery. Hopefully we got it. That might be microphones. Oh boy. So yeah, I'm not a fan of Samyang, Tamron, Sigma, anything else. I'm a Zeiss man. So like, I'm trying to replace everything I own with Zeiss or Leica or Voigtlander lenses, something like that. Back when people cared, and there's pop, and there's just image fidelity, true character, true love in a lens. So like, I want to replace all these third parties. I understand you don't have 900 subs like I do. Your cat stroller dream is far in the distance. I'm almost there. I get it. You're going with the Tamron. I understand you. But like, if you want to dream one day or borrow money from your uncle, you go for the Zeiss. If you're a Sony shooter, that's why you're a Sony shooter, because you have Zeiss lenses. I forgot to mention the Sony 14mm 1.8. It's 460 grams. That's not bad. And the Rokinon 14mm 2.8 is even heavier. I just wrote that down to laugh at it. The 14mm, I don't know, man. It's a little too wide, but it can be fun. It's very expensive. I think you go Zeiss or go home. Or the Sony 20mm, you can't go wrong with that. But I did. And I correct that wrong now. Thank you, Flat Earth Santa, for sending it to me. How you doing? Are you buying a Camera Conspiracies t-shirt? Zeiss. It happened. Huh? I've had the Samyang 2.8. It wasn't this. Be real with your life. I'm leaving. I said that 4 times. Subscribe for more videos, and